Welcome to UTB Blogcast number 61. We are a much smaller cast tonight. We don't know where, we have no idea where Eric is. He's disappeared off the face of the earth. The Australians are working. So it looks like it's Dave, Alpha, and I. The three guys that have nothing to do on a Friday night, apparently.
Okay, now you had to make it all sad and everything. Shut up.
So this has been a big week. You know, last week we had the earnings call that sent everybody a skitter. Everybody thinking that the end is nigh. You know, we had all the biggest BlackBerry fans putting on our boards and heading out to the street to say it's the end. And it's not the end. I mean, honestly, those of us here, we kind of listened to the whole earnings call and we understood what was coming forth. There's other people out there that did too, but those voices were really overwhelmed by the amount of people that just listened to, I guess you'd say, major media who said BlackBerry's done, right? So BlackBerry made it a point this week to come out and clear everything up. How many times do they have to come out and clear stuff up after they make an announcement?
Well, I'm going to say it's at least 90% of the time.
Yeah, at least.
That's pretty sad. It's just like a big dog pile out there.
It's frustrating. It's really frustrating because, I mean, honestly, I don't think I'm any smarter than the next guy, right? I don't think any of us have that opinion of ourselves. That's for, you know, male models that want to write about BlackBerry for 6 months. They think they're smarter than other people. We don't. We know we're just part of the crowd. And we got it. You know, there's a lot of us out there that got it, but my God, the amount of people that jumped on it, that this is the end. We're not going to have any more BlackBerry phones. And some of them are still out there shouting it, even after BlackBerry's come forward. The frustrating part for me is that, you know, our comments are full of it, and you see it everywhere else as well, where all these people are saying, Chin's confusing, he's not making any sense. We all got what was happening out of that earnings call. You know, we didn't get a special earnings call for us. We all heard the same thing. I don't see what's confusing.
It's spin, and it's clicks. It's clickbait. It's headlines for hosers. It's I don't know what else to chalk it up to.
Down here too, Dave.
Yeah. Well, I'm a hoser too, but you know, I don't know. It's all spin doctor, stock manipulation, and I sort of brought that up last time, and it's just pathetic, and it's grown to be more humorous than anything else. So I get to torture people that are guiding in the incorrect direction. It's fun torturing people, but I don't know what to say. It's not going to go away until BlackBerry shows more of an increase in their stock price, which is really hard to do when these people are bashing it constantly. It's not going to change until people think they see some form of success. I don't know. I don't know what to say about that. It's hard.
Go ahead,
I agree. I agree on the spin doctor's part. It is a matter of people coming on, people from the media, and saying that BlackBerry is done, and people in the BlackBerry community rolling with it, repeating it ad nauseum, which is sad, and it's a bit disheartening, because you would think that there's this whole community out there, and you would think that they would actually stand with BlackBerry, and all they're doing is standing against BlackBerry. And BlackBerry is seeing this, and they're hearing it, and then people want to complain about handsets and stuff like that. But the community is not backing BlackBerry. It's so divided now. Half the community is saying they're doomed, and then half of them are saying the right thing. Half of them, we understood what was mentioned at the earnings call. We understood the path that BlackBerry is going on, and I just don't see what was so hard about it that people didn't understand
Yeah,
about
I
it.
know. I know. The haters, they're gonna hate. What drives me nuts these days is the butthurt bunch that thinks somebody owes them something and is still to this day pissed off that the playbook doesn't have BB10 on it, for crying out loud. Would you
Yeah,
get over
over it.
yourself, people?
Please, they
It's
definitely have to get over that.
it's yesteryear's news. Shut up and stop bringing that up into current conversations and stuff like that. Oh, whining like somebody kicked their dog. I don't get it. Get on the
And
bandwagon or go away.
if the playbook was out with BB10 right now, the same playbook that was out all those years ago, and with the hardware that it has now, then there'd be people complaining that the hardware is not good enough for the operating system. So I mean, it's like a catch-22 almost.
Yeah.
But you're right. People need to get over the whole playbook thing. It's over and done. It's dead now. Just they need to get
Yeah.
over it.
Yeah. I mean, you know what's going to happen? People are going to get over exploding Note 7s. So if you can get
Yes.
over exploding Note 7s, which is going to happen as soon as the Galaxy S8 comes out and the Note 8 or whatever else, people are going to get over it and they're going to buy that stuff and life goes on.
Yes.
I wanted to save the Note 7 for the end, but let's go ahead and jump into that for just a minute, just because it is interesting. I think we could go a while on that. First of all, let's just be honest with anyone that's watching us right now. This is not the show we had intended. Erica has been really integral with gathering all the topics that we're going to talk about, and we lost her. She was there earlier. She's not here now. And we pressed the go button without any clue what we were going to talk about tonight. So we're kind of flying by the seat of our pants right now, which is, typically how Dave lives anyway. So he should be the one guiding us.
Wait, you have pants on? What?
I have my Daisy Dukes on. That's what I got.
Aw.
But yeah, talking about the Note 7, there was a manufacturing issue. We get it. There's an issue with the batteries. Samsung stepped up. They recalled their devices. They replaced their devices. And then this week, a phone started smoking on an airplane. You're not allowed to smoke on an airplane, especially if you're a phone. So now it's turned into this major media event that even the replacements are blowing up. I haven't really been keeping up. I don't know if there's been any other devices that have replacement devices that have blown up or started smoking, but I know of one. And what I was reading today was that all of the US carriers are essentially saying you can return your device. We'll give you something else for free. We'll give you something else cheaper for free. I guarantee you they'll be telling people, here, have an iPhone. It's safe. Meanwhile, over the last 7 days, we've had 4 iPhones blow up. So the question is how is it that you have one replacement Samsung Note pop and you have 4 iPhones pop within 7 days, and all the news is about Samsung and people are just kind of brushing the iPhones to the side?
More spin doctors, if you ask me. More spin doctors. Apple has a grasp on the media that I no longer comprehend. Apple can do their worst, it seems. Apple can probably package up a brick with the Apple logo on the back, and people will say it was, which the iPhone is anyway, and people will say it's the greatest.
After an update, it is.
And people will say it's the greatest phone ever. I don't understand it. I actually saw a meme that was out. I think it had a Nokia one of the Nokia feature phones. I think it was a 1201 or something like that, and they were comparing it to the I think it was the iPhone 6S, and the Nokia phone, the iPhone had features that the feature phone has, and that was about it. So I don't get it how Apple can slide with this stuff and Samsung can't catch a break. I really don't understand that. I do understand that exploding Note 7s are a big deal, but Apple has had phones exploding for a very long time now. They've had phones catching on fire. They've had phones electrocuting people. They had a phone catch on fire on a plane one time, and people just seem to brush that off like it's nothing. Like, oh, it's Apple. Apple's the greatest thing since sliced bread. But this happens to Samsung, and people think that Samsung is in league with terrorists now, making their phones into bombs and all sorts of other stuff. I don't get it. I really don't get it.
Yeah, I heard they were having a fire sale because it's the bomb.
What really does frighten me about this, because, I am all for competition. Of course, I wish that, there was no competition for BlackBerry and BlackBerry is number one. But I'm an American. I'm a capitalist. I want competition. What's scaring me about this is that the Note is true competition for the iPhone, right? It is. Number one, I don't understand how the iPhone is the most popular single phone out there, because of the exact reasons that you mentioned earlier, Alpha. It's basically a feature phone that they're telling people it is a smartphone. So I take issue with that, first of all. But here we have a Note that's a true competitor for BlackBerry, for the iPhone. And I don't like Samsung. I don't like TouchWiz. Basically, I hate TouchWiz. I don't have an issue with Samsung per se. I've got their TVs. I've had their tablets before. I had a Windows tablet. I had a Windows tablet that I actually loved. But my issue is obvious. I want BlackBerry number one. But if I can't have BlackBerry number one, I don't want iPhone as number one. And when Dave said earlier that people will forget this when the Note 8 comes out, I'm kind of afraid they won't. It's like Samsung seems to be taking huge hits on this phone. And I don't know if the amount of hits that they're taking they can recover from. Do you ever remember a time that all the carriers came forward and said, yeah, return this phone. We're not, return it for safety reasons now?
Yeah,
No.
I hear what you're saying. And I'll bolster it by saying that smartphones and their ilk, certain gadgets, have a bizarre hold on human beings. They constitute so much more, affinity from people, brand loyalty with people, and we are no different than that. But when it comes to problems, and even problems that kill people, it doesn't make companies die. And if it was any other way, then people would buy, Ford Pintos with Firestone 500 tires all those years ago killed people. Is Ford dead? Are they in trouble? No. Is Firestone in business? Yes. Companies that make food products that kill people don't go out of business. And here none of these issues have killed anybody. But there seems to be a hell of a lot more brand loyalty to a smartphone than there is to, I don't know, a car or a tire or someone who makes lunch meat, or salad that you can buy at Costco or something that, kills people.
But really, those Firestone tires, they don't manufacture that make anymore. We don't see the Pinto anymore, while we do see the Mustang.
I know, but we won't see another Note 7 either, will we? We'll see a Note 8 and we'll see a S8 and life will go on. So I don't know is it damage? Oh yeah. Is it costing them millions and millions of dollars, yeah, maybe it'll cost them $1 billion, especially with people who got their house burnt down and shite like that. You know, that's $1 million right there. So yeah, it is going to cost them, and it'll cost them dearly. And somebody probably doesn't work there anymore. I don't know, but are they going to survive? Hell yeah. And
they need to hire that ex-Apple employee, Samsung.
Yeah, that's right. He can fix it or something. I don't know. I mean, Samsung's got a lot of things going for them. It's not going to damage them as a company. You know, they make clothes washers that blow up too. I mean, what the hell? You know, so
I think it's hilarious
They make a lot of
that
shit.
made the news again, because that's something. If you look into the story, that's been going on since 2011 with that make and model of dryer. But you know, it came across as news this week. You know that, oh look, their dryers are exploding too, and the videos that people are posting, even the video, because I forget who posted it on our site. But I went in, I think it was Sipo. I think Sipo posted it. And so I went in and I added a video just because it's a cool video. But that video was from a year or two ago. I mean, it's an ongoing problem. So, you know, their dryers have been blowing up as long as the iPhones have been blowing up. But man, it sure made the headlines this last week.
You know, somebody doesn't like you if they buy you a Samsung appliance and a Note 7, or actually, you know, that's the next hitman thing to do, is throw a Note 7 in a Samsung dryer, turn it on, and you're dead.
Did you guys hear that it's actually in a video game now?
Yes,
yes.
It's a weapon.
Yeah, I think it was GTA, wasn't it? Was it in GTA? Yeah.
I believe it was, yeah. It's a weapon now.
That is so bad. And people think BlackBerry's no good. Check that shit out. That's so funny. Yeah, the gun didn't work, so I'm going to throw a Note 7 at him. Awesome.
So let's pull it back to BlackBerry, and let's pull it back to the conversation we were having a few minutes ago, where we were talking about, you know, Chin's message during the earning call and the questions that it raised versus what we've been told later on this week. Now, going back, none of us were confused with what Chin's message was, but there were two questions that were left for us. Number one, if BlackBerry is now primarily a software company and they're having these other deals, and I don't want to get too in depth with those deals right now. I do want to talk about them later on in the podcast. But with other manufacturers designing and producing these phones, what was left in question is BB10 and the keyboard phone, right? So the easy answer, the quick answer that we can go over real quick is Chin kind of teased us with that keyboard phone, even in the days after that earnings call, where he was saying he doesn't know if he's going to release it, you know, and if he does release it, it will be the last BlackBerry designed phone. And I understand people going, oh, now he's confusing us. But at the same time, I kind of think that was kind of marketing on his point.
Yeah.
Look at the headlines that got. Look at how many people were talking about it. And a few days later, before it got too old, we had Alex Thurber talking to the BBC, telling us that it's coming, right? Do you think that decision was made this week, or do you think that was Chin grabbing headlines?
I think it was Chin grabbing headlines, or more of he wanted to see what kind of reaction there would be about another physical keyboard phone, and I think he got the reaction that he wanted, and they're going for it now.
Well, you look at people in positions like that, and you know that they talk on a ongoing basis numerous times a week, and they have internal and or external strategies And I'm agreeing with Alpha here because, you know, if it's not a play like that, it doesn't make any sense. You know, you got one guy sort of speaking in these tones one day, and then a few days later, another guy speaking in more matter-of-fact type styles later, and it just it feels like a play for the media. You know, that's how I felt about it anyway.
So looking
Yeah,
at how Chin did this announcement, I understand it frustrated a lot of people. People were angry, and then BlackBerry seemed prepared to respond to this. I mean, this is kind of a weird situation because honestly, we're all fans of BlackBerry, right? There's no question of that. We love BlackBerry. We love our BlackBerry phones. I anyway, am a huge fan of Chin, regardless of what some of these people are commenting about. I don't think BlackBerry would be here today if it wasn't for Chin. And I think with what he's done, I think he's spent a lot of time reacting. I really think he spent a lot of time reacting, but he's had a plan on the back burner, and that plan has had to change throughout his tenure as certain things didn't work and some things did work. And I mean, there were times that he came out and he asked the community for help. That's obviously him reacting to the market. I get that, and I'm glad that he did. And I think we still have a BlackBerry because he did. I think part of the problem with Thorsten and the two Yahoos before that created the BlackBerries we loved is that they weren't reacting. They were just going full steam ahead, and that full steam ahead was driving BlackBerry straight into a wall. But this announcement, now that we're a week outside of it and we've seen the reaction, and I mean, something as simple as a tweet from BlackBerry has made national headlines in major media. The interview with the BBC has been picked up by every one of the tech blogs going, you know, the same blogs that were saying BlackBerry's done 2 days ago are now saying BlackBerry's not done now. I can't help but thinking that this was not some form of guerrilla marketing. This seems too well orchestrated for it to be accidental. I mean, right now, my news feed, which is all about mobile tech, I've got all these alerts coming into a throwaway email address just for the alerts of Apple, BlackBerry, iPhone explode. That's how I get all those stories. But like, I've got like 20 different alerts coming in. So I grab these, and right now my feed is full of BlackBerry's not dead yet, right? I can't help but think this wasn't planned.
Yeah.
Or this was planned, I'm sorry.
Yeah, not arguing that. Yeah. That's the way it feels. And
it's strange because this isn't something that I would ever expect from BlackBerry. As much as I love BlackBerry, there's one thing that I can fully admit that they have completely failed on throughout the years, and that's marketing. And this last week has just seemed like some genius marketing. The amount of free press that they are getting is beyond me. It's Apple level of free press. And they didn't even have to have a big show and tell.
Yep. Well, time will tell. I mean, we're days away from what I think is going to be the release of the 60.
Right.
And I kind of think I think what they're calling the Mercury. I think that's a New Year thing, early in the new year, maybe January, February thing. So that guy from my office who sauntered up the stairs and came into my office and told me that BlackBerry was never going to make another phone again, I get to go at least 2 more times.
And see, that's exactly what I'm talking about, because if you look at your feeds and you go into these blogs and these websites, the very same sites that were proclaiming the end of BlackBerry devices are now coming back to talk about the new devices coming.
Yes.
I'm telling you, this is the best marketing BlackBerry's ever done, and I'm hoping it was on purpose and not just, tripped into.
And if it was tripped into, I hope somebody noticed it and they picked it up and they're running with the ball.
And by the way,
but I think it was on purpose.
As much as I love this guy, I had to laugh because I must have been a year and a half or 2 years ago. He got a Samsung, I don't know what it was, S5 or whatever it was at the time, and he had it for like a year or something. Then he gave it to another guy in our office and went and got an iPhone, which is what he came from. And when I asked him why he did that, his answer was, it was just too complicated. And this is one of my technicians. So I'm not going to mention any names. You're probably not watching because you're an Apple guy, but dude, seriously, it's too complicated, huh? Yeah. Okay, then.
We just got a comment on the channel. I'm not even going to try and pronounce the name. I'm sorry, buddy. But he's saying, I hear people are getting no service at AT&T with the Priv. I've got a Priv on AT&T right here. I have no problem getting service if you're talking about like connection and use. I use this phone all day, every day. If you're talking about, AT&T not supporting me as a user because I choose BlackBerry, that's nothing new there. It's been like that since I had my Torch 9800, which is kind of why I think we aren't seeing the DTEC 50 and probably won't see the DTEC 60 and probably won't see the Mercury at American carriers because they are not providing the service. They're not providing the updates. Right now, BlackBerry needs those updates to get to their users as fast as possible because that is their selling point, is the security. And if the American carriers are, and I think purposely bottlenecking them, I can't imagine BlackBerry using the American carriers again.
Yeah, I think that there's no purpose to it, and I don't really want to. How can I put this? I've heard that this issue didn't start until a certain version of beta OS came out. That's what I've heard. And so if that is happening to some people, it is going to go away. And it's certainly not happening to a large percentage of people. It's happening to a very, very small percentage of people for whom I feel sorry for. But it is temporary. It has nothing to do with the phone itself because there was nothing like that on Lollipop or the first version of Marshmallow. God, I hate using those words. So it is temporary. I don't know why it happens to some people and not, to everybody, but that's technology. But it is temporary, and it's definitely going to get fixed. It's not a hardware problem. Well,
if it's a matter of service to the phone, that's exactly what happened with the what version of iOS are we on now? 10 kaboom. So right off the bat, T-Mobile people were losing connection on the iPhone, and then they pushed out a couple of updates to fix that. And I think it was just this week where Verizon customers were losing their connection with their network carrier on iOS. So just remember, it happens to everybody.
Yeah, I agree. I do think it has something to do with the beta, and it's only affecting AT&T phones from what I've read.
Correct.
And so it's definitely something with the AT&T beta. Like I said, when I had my first Priv, it was on AT&T, and I didn't have any such problem. The next Priv I had was on T-Mobile, and I didn't have a problem, and I was on the beta there. So it's definitely a AT&T beta issue, and I believe we'll see a fix for it shortly.
Well, I'm on beta and on AT&T. I don't have no problems. Maybe I
That's
should.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's very small.
Yeah, it's not affecting everybody. Yeah, it's not. It's definitely not
Dave,
affecting
that's
everybody.
personal.
Very small. Oh yeah, right. That's what she said.
Affecting everybody. And speaking of Privs and DTEC 50s and whatnot, I am now actually on the DTEC 50. Wanted to give it a shot. I've been looking at YouTube videos and stuff about the phone. And now that I have it, I have to say this is a very nice phone. It's very good build quality. It's very light. This thing feels like if you threw it up in the air, it would actually float away. Um, the build quality is nice. Like I said, I like the metal going all around the phone.
How do you like the screen compared to the Priv?
The screen compared to the Priv. The Priv has a better screen. I will say that.
Okay.
I believe it's because it's the DTEC 50 has LCD and the Priv has AMOLED.
Yeah.
So I believe that plays a big part into it. But the screen on the DTEC 50 is not bad. It's very, very bright.
How is it outside in the sun?
Oh, it's great. It's great. It's very legible. It's very, very bright. I find that especially when I'm indoors, I have to turn the screen brightness down to below half. It's very, very bright. You won't have a problem seeing the screen anytime outside during the day. You definitely won't have a problem with that at all. How
about the convenience key? Have you fiddled with that, or you find it useful?
I do actually, and I actually set my convenience key to BBM because to me, what's a BlackBerry without BBM? So I hit that convenience key and it goes right into it. I'm on BBM a lot. So,
not me.
So I hit that convenience key and I go right into BBM.
Cool. Can you assign it to like any program, or does it have to be something that's initially installed on your phone?
No, you can assign it to whatever programs. Like you can go into it. I'm going to do it right now, as a matter of fact.
Notice I didn't say app. Shit, I'm old. Why didn't I say app?
You can when you go into it. Let me just jump into the settings here. And when you go to convenience key, it actually is. It says the available actions are open app, speed dial, send message, or all shortcuts.
Oh,
So
okay.
whatever shortcuts you have, the convenience key will go to them. Whatever app you want to set it to open up, any app that you have,
Cool.
It'll go right. It'll go right for it.
But no programs. The programs are right out.
The camera quality between that and the Priv. Now I've seen some reviews from tech blogs that I'm not going to mention that said that the camera quality on the Priv on the DTEC 50 was decent at best, and I'm going to go ahead and say that is false. The camera quality on the DTEC 50 is pretty good, I must say. I find that it's actually better when you use the flash, even when there's sufficient light. The pictures come out looking better. But the camera quality is pretty good. It's more than just decent, as I've seen a lot of sites say.
So would you compare it to something like a Passport? Not sure if you had one of those.
Yes, I have a Passport. I would say it's actually slightly better than the Passport.
Yeah, because the Passport to me is a damn good camera on it.
Yeah,
it is.
It does.
Never ever sniveled about the camera on that. Z30, it did its job, but low light situations wasn't my favorite. But
Yeah.
Passport I thought was quite
solid
big
camera
step
on the
up.
Passport.
I thought so.
And and it's a solid camera on the D-Tech 50. Front facing camera is pretty good also, of course, 8 megapixel with flash.
Yeah,
So
much better than the Priv.
Than the Privs, yeah. That is pretty good. So I am
talk to me about battery, Oswami. Tell me about the battery.
Well, I've seen some sites say that the battery life is mediocre, or it's okay. It'll just get you through the day or anything like that, and they're glad that BlackBerry provided a quick charge to it. I'm glad they provided quick charge to it too, but just because I like my phone to charge quickly. But battery life is not bad on this phone at all. Definitely not bad on this phone at all.
Tell us about your day. You unplug it at what o'clock, and you need to charge it at what o'clock?
Well, when I got the phone today,
okay.
or when I got it, the battery was already on. I was doing a lot with this phone already. Battery was already at 50% when I got the phone, and it was about 1 p.m. I immediately started setting everything up, downloading my apps, went outside, snapped some pics and everything. And I have to say that from 50% up until now, I have not plugged my phone back in yet, and I'm still running with about 20% battery.
Nice.
That is awesome, because everyone knows. Yeah, everyone knows when you start setting up a phone that thing's chugging hard, setting up your accounts and running around and finding pictures for contacts and blah 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 blah. That's not bad at all. I'm actually surprised you haven't plugged that thing in.
Yeah, no, that's not bad at all. And I've actually been messing around with it still the entire time that we've been on the Blogcast. So this thing is it's pretty good. I love the brightness of the screen, the clarity. The phone is light, but it feels solid. It doesn't feel shabby. It doesn't feel like it's going to fall apart if you wind up dropping it or anything like that. I don't like putting cases on my phone, so that's a great thing for me.
He likes to go raw.
Oh yeah,
it's all good. Hey, I got another stupid question. Are you into audio? What does music sound like on that puppy?
So I was just about to jump into that. So I was messing around with the Priv, and my fiance is asleep now. But when she was awake, I said I need to try a song. I want to hear how it sounds. So play the song, and it sounded low at first, but that's because dumb me didn't turn it up. And once I turned it up, the sound filled the entire bedroom.
That's what I'm talking about.
Great. These speakers are great, and the fact that it has dual firing speakers on the front and back makes it even better.
Yeah, I came this close to getting one just because of that. Like the Z30, in my opinion, is the kick-ass king of handheld mobile audio, for a phone kind of thing. Unbelievable. I used to put that thing down on the table at practice, and we'd use that to listen to songs that we might want to play or whatever. And everybody would always look at it and go, "That comes out of that? Really? Holy crap." So it's really cool to hear that, we're kind of back on that bandwagon again. And I'm kind of hoping that the D-Tech 60 and, what do they call it?
The Mercury.
The Mercury, that's right, yeah. I hope that, they both come along with that thing too, because I'm a bit of a gear guy, and guess what? I'm probably going to have to buy one of those two things. I don't know.
The back of the D-Tech 50, I love the back. I love this back that BlackBerry chose to go with. I love the texture. It makes the phone feel really grippy. I have other phones like I have a Lumia 640, for instance, and it has a glossy back, 640 XL, excuse me, and it has a glossy back, so it makes the phone a little slippery. I've had iPhones in the past, and those were very slippery as well. But this is very grippy. When you hold this phone, you know you're not going to drop it. But if you do
Yeah.
drop it, you would know that it'll take the bump. This thing is
Is it the
it's
kind of thing
very
that you
solidly
can?
built.
Is it the kind of thing that you can chuck onto your car dash and it's going to stick?
You know what? I think it will. I actually there was something on it. I had some twine or something that like a wire, and I actually fell onto the back of this, and it looked like it was actually sticky. When I picked up the phone, it was still there on the back of it, and I had
Nice.
to remove it. So this is a very well built phone by BlackBerry. This is a great mid ranger. I recommend this to anyone. And I
Yeah.
usually go for the power handsets, but I'm gonna rock with this for a while. I'm definitely gonna rock with this for a while. I recommend this handset to anyone.
Yeah, it sounds like a really great piece of machinery, and if I wasn't in the cycle that I am right now, I would have grabbed one. But I haven't quite gotten my whatever it is, $700 worth out of the Priv yet. So I'm gonna have to wait a little bit longer. I don't know how much longer.
The two main things that I miss going from the Priv to the DTEC 50 is the screen and the physical keyboard. That's it.
Yeah. No, I know.
That's it. I'm a physical keyboard fan, and my brother still doesn't understand how I love the physical keyboard so much, but physical keyboard is where it's at. And if I can't get a phone with a physical keyboard, it's going to be a problem. But
yeah, well, I remember when the Passport came out, and because I can, this is going to come out wrong, but I can sort of go either way. Okay. Anyway, yeah. I've been a long-standing sort of a slab guy, and a virtual keyboard's not a problem for me. I got no problem with that at all. And when the Passport came out, I kind of had to go, oh, I wanted it so badly, and so I went and got it. Of course, launch day, because I'm an idiot, and it took me, I don't know, a matter of hours to start absolutely loving it.
Yeah.
And to this day, I think it's the best keyboard telephone on planet Earth. Just because of the size of the keys and how it's laid out, and that extra layer of a virtual keyboard above it and whatnot. It's just it's the best keyboard phone I've ever touched. Classic comes in a close second.
I agree.
I'm gonna change this conversation. I'm gonna say something that I guarantee you 99.9% of our readers and listeners will disagree with. I'm gonna say that the Priv keyboard right now is my most favorite BlackBerry keyboard.
Awesome.
But here's the thing: the Passport keyboard, there was a learning curve. And once I got used to it, I love the keyboard, and I love the 3-row. Like, something that I thought I would never get used to is that 3-row. But I really think it's more efficient that way with the 4 virtual row.
Your Passport had a learning curve because it has round edges. Mine's square,
Yeah.
So I don't have a learning curve.
Well, the Passport's kind of tough. You know what I mean? You have to put effort in. You've got to use 2 hands. It is. There's some work to be done there. As much as I love that keyboard, there's some work to be done. When I got the Classic was like a return to an old favorite, right?
99.
But it was bigger and it was more luxurious than the old BlackBerry BBOS keyboards that I was used to. The Priv keyboard is the same thing as the Classic keyboard. It's the same exact size. Difference is that the keys are a little bit flatter and I like the ridges on the Classic better than the Priv flatter keys. But as far as, you know, I hear a lot of people saying, oh, it's too small of a keyboard, it's too tiny. It's only small if you're comparing it to the Passport.
Yeah. It's
the same size as the Classic. It's bigger than the Q10. It's bigger than any BBOS phone any of us ever owned. Mm-hmm. It's luxurious compared to those phones.
Yeah.
And the thing is, the swipe I actually use. Like, I never use the swipe on my Passport. I never did. The only thing I used the capacitive Passport keys for was surfing the web. You know, turn it sideways and use it to scroll up and down.
Interesting. I always used it to swipe upwards. I just, you know, you had to sort of get into it compared to a virtual keyboard. You have sort of a lighter touch to it kind of thing. You have to be a little bit more careful with it. But I ended up using it a lot.
Every time I tried to swipe on it, I minimized my window.
Yeah. Well, that happens when you're
straight up the screen.
Ham fist. Yeah, I get it. Been there, done that. But the direction that I was going was like a dilemma for me. DTEC 60 or the as yet unannounced Mercury device. Which one would I want next?
I'd say get both.
Yeah, well, you're not an enabler, are you? There's no enabling going on here. Look over there. Yeah. Oh, man.
That's what I plan on doing. I want to get both. After having the DTEC 50 and the DTEC 60 is supposed to have a similar design, but larger size, more horsepower. Yeah. I definitely want to give that a shot.
Well, it does look like a killer phone. It's got what? I don't know what the next processor up is, but it has an 820, and I think there's an 821 or something above it.
There's an 821 around the corner, but it does have an 820, which phones like the Galaxy S7 are using right now. A lot of the high-end flagship smartphones are using an 820 right now, so it falls right into that category. 21 megapixel camera on the back, 8 megapixel on the front. That awesome dual curve screen that it's going to have. Speaking of that, with the DTEC 50, it doesn't have the dual curve screen, but it still has the productivity tab. It has the little battery reader that shows you the line that goes up to the side and up. That shows you how much battery you have and everything, and how long until the charge and everything like that. So it made me miss the Priv a lot less when I saw those features.
The 60 is going to have the curved screen?
Yeah, the 60 is supposed to have the dual curved screen also, which is from something that I read. It's supposed to have a dual curved screen.
Do you guys like the curved screen?
I love it.
I find myself sometimes, but not always, with this portion of my right hand touching the side of the screen, which makes what I'm wanting to do with my thumb or finger not do what I want it to do. But it's rare, and I've sort of trained myself, you know, not to do it. It just does happen because it's you know, it knows it knows that there's some activation over there, so it doesn't really want to do what I want it to do over there. It doesn't happen all that often, though, and it doesn't piss me off or anything like that. You know, and with something like with a completely square, straight up screen, like the Passport is an example, that never happens.
The one thing I do not like, literally the one thing I don't like about my Priv now, which if you listen to the blogcast 6 months ago, you'd be amazed to hear me say that, but is the curved screen. I don't like the curved screen. I never wanted it. I don't like it now. I've got the Leap that I'm using as a secondary phone right now, and I can tell you the big difference between typing on glass on my Priv and typing on glass on the Leap is this flat screen, and I want a flat screen. I don't want a curved screen. Like my complaints with the case, with the usage, exactly what you said. Some things it just doesn't feel right. You know, the battery meter, the green stripe, It doesn't need a curved screen for that. I understand the curved screens are popular because of Samsung. I don't like them. I don't like them at all. Like, not one bit.
Well, the curved screen, and you're right to bring up Samsung, because they're the people that did it first. It was meant to be able to have your phone on a desk or a table or whatever, and it's just sitting there and it's plugged in, maybe charging, not exploding yet, and you would see notifications on the edge. That's why it was created, so that you could see some shit happening on the edge, S6 edge of the screen. But BlackBerry's not taking advantage of that. The only thing we have is a green stripe showing us what kind of battery level we have, and it's not always there anyway. It's only there when you plug it in, and even not always then. But
I don't want the same thing with the S or the Galaxy Edge, where it's supposed to like reflect on the table if you have your phone face down, to where you can see what's going on. And there's now an iPhone case I saw that's on Kickstarter where flashing lights on the back of the case to let you have the notifications. Here's how I've always used my BlackBerry. When I have my phone sitting down somewhere and I have it face up, it's because that way I can see what's coming in. I can see the notification light. Even going back to BBOS, I would adjust my notification lights to certain things. So I had an app for that. And so I would know if it was a red LED, it was for this. If it was a blue LED, I would know it was for that. When I was in a position like, say, a meeting or somewhere where I shouldn't be looking at my phone and I did not want to see the notifications coming in, I flip it face down. I still do that today. So I don't want to see the notifications if my phone is face down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I just think it adds a level of sexiness to the phone. You're right. BlackBerry isn't taking full advantage of the curved screen. I don't know if they ever will. They probably really added it there for aesthetic purposes, but I like it. I like it. Like I said, I think it adds a level of sexiness to the BlackBerry Priv.
Well, there you go. We got Alpha on one side, me in the middle, and Brad on the other side. Whatever.
I'm the Omega on this conversation.
It's a Dave. It's a Dave sandwich.
Dave's over there being all gamma and shit.
Yeah. Or something.
Let's bring it back to the important stuff, because there is stuff that we do want to talk about, and I think we're running a little long, but we've already got a comment on it. Before we get to the comment, though, remind me there is a comment. It's from Alan. But
there's a comment from Alan.
Thank you.
Was that too early?
Yeah, just a little early. That's what she said, Dave.
Thanks.
So we know that BlackBerry is now a software company, and they are now licensing their tech to other manufacturers to design and use BlackBerry. One of the questions that came from this that people have been concerned about, I'm still seeing these conversations on channels, is people seem to be under the impression that BlackBerry is just going to be like, here, pay us a royalty and do whatever you want with our software. That's not the case. It's not the case at all. We've actually received verification that that's not the case. BlackBerry is partnering with these other companies. They will sign off on the quality of this product. If it's not up to snuff as far as BlackBerry is concerned, they're not entering into that deal. So people that are concerned about that, don't be concerned about it. However, BB10, we heard in the one post that people were, quote, lining up to put BB10 on their devices. Here's the question. What are the devices?
I agree.
I would not be able to begin to imagine what those devices are. The obvious first choice would be a handset. And then you maybe want to question where you were going to do that or why or whatever. To me, it doesn't make sense to use that operating system for anything other than a handset, because that's where the elegance shines. Said it before, say it again. It's the best operating system, mobile operating system on planet Earth, in my humble opinion. And
I agree.
It just doesn't get the respect it deserves. So yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't know where to put it. Would you want to see it on a tablet? Oh man, I'd love to see that. That would be killer. I don't know. What do you guys think about what you would do with that? I'm sort of in a conundrum. I haven't thought that all the way through.
Well, I'm thinking tablet also. That it could be used as a tablet. I'd love to see it as a desktop OS. I don't think that would ever happen, but I'd love to see that happen. But I could definitely see it on a tablet. Then maybe it'll hush up those playbook fans.
Yeah, right. Dredge that one back up. Yeah.
And I could actually see it, although there would need to be applications built around it. But I could actually see it used more in the IoT, like for television sets, set top boxes, and things of that nature. I could definitely see that.
Yeah, there's
the IoT is huge, and we see a lot of these new devices coming out that are based in Android, and they're not getting the Google updates. I mean, let's be honest. Android is not. It is such a messy operating system because it's open source. The very thing that makes it powerful is the thing that makes it unsafe. It is a bulky operating system with and when that happens, there's way too many things that can go wrong. When you're talking about the IoT and you're talking about your home locks and you're talking about your medical devices and you're talking about your refrigerator and your vacuum, it's going to come to a point where you don't want somebody hacking into your devices.
No.
And there is not a better operating system out there than BB10 for that. But
well, that's true. But you know what? You don't really need the UI that BB10 offers.
You don't.
When
There's
you're
a lot
talking
more to
about
BB10 than the UI.
No, I know, but what I'm sort of getting at is, to me, that's more of a QNX play than it is a actual BB10 overlay. I mean, sure, if you wanted to put a smart refrigerator together, go ahead and put a BB10 display on it with touch screens. I need milk or whatever. I don't know what the hell you do with that junk. But if you're talking about pure IoT devices that don't need really any human intervention, then what more would you need than QNX? Stuff like radar or whatever that you're going to stick on a container and it's going to tell you what the temperature is inside and where it is GPS wise on the planet and whatnot. That doesn't need BB10 because nobody's going to touch it. I don't know.
Like I said, televisions, set-top boxes.
Yeah, for smart TV, sure.
Yeah.
People are LG or somebody's put WebOS in it.
Yeah, LG did.
Yeah, and so somebody could put BB10 on it, and I can understand that because people are going to touch it. A QNX play is not what you want there. You want an interface. So BB10 would play in there.
You know where else I think BB10 would go very well? Virtual reality or augmented reality. I think it'd be very good with that.
I think it would be great for that. I just don't know if they've taken any steps to get there. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know if that would probably be a lot more work to get it to that point. Even
Yeah.
though I agree with you, just because it can do so much.
Well, it's a better multitasker.
Exactly. That's what I was trying to say. Thanks, Dave, for making it sound right.
You're welcome. It's just a better multitasker in that vein, so it should be able to handle with the right processors and graphics co-processors. It should be able to handle VR in a much more fundamentally better way than what else is out there.
So let me make a business case for a BlackBerry 10 phone, because first of all, I do think that I think that we're going to see BB10 and IoT devices. I think that's going to be a major market for licensing of BB10, and I think that's going to be a major source of income for BlackBerry. But there's a lot of people out there that are saying that is the future of BB10. I've seen it said multiple times, if BlackBerry can't make money on BB10, why would somebody else do it? And I think it's very simple. There's a very easy business case for it, because there are certain manufacturers out there that aren't going for the mass market. BlackBerry is a beefy company. They need, you know, when they were a device manufacturer, when they were putting out the Z10 and the Q10, they needed to sell in volume. They needed to, and they didn't. And that's what got us to the point that we're at right now. But there are other companies out there like Blackphone, that cloud-based phone. I forget what it is. They're these small. There you go. Thank you. I keep dropping everything. But there's plenty of companies out there that are not going for the general consumer. They're not going for the mass market. They're going for a niche market. And there's already a niche market for BB10, and that is the hyper secure. So if you take a smaller company that is aiming for a category, they could easily grab BB10, and that would give that business case for it. It's already built. You know, imagine Blackphone with BB10.
Yeah, interesting. What's that other Turing? Yeah.
I mean, Turing decided not to go with Android and went with Selfish, which I mean, I think the Selfish guys have even given up on it. There's plenty of companies that are looking for that niche market. They know that they're not going to be a mass market device, and that's not what they're aiming for. Yeah. BlackBerry needed to be with BB10. These other companies don't, and BlackBerry can license a fully operable OS to them. And what does that mean to us? It means BB10 phones, and it means continued development, because once there's a customer that's willing to pay for it, BlackBerry is going to push ahead in development of BB10.
Yep.
As a software company, and I am excited for it.
I think they sailfished off to the sunset.
I think they're just selfish and took people's money.
Or something.
In the case of the Turing phone, anyway.
Yeah.
Which brings me to Alan's comment.
Yay, Alan.
I gotta stop dropping stuff.
Stop doing that.
Yeah. He says, I hope there will be a BlackBerry devices after the end of their fiscal year, and I plan on picking up the next physical keyboard device. So I'm happy for the next year or two. I'm not a hater, so I wait with bated breath to hear about future partnership agreements. But honestly, I'm just not sure the business case may be made. Can you please discuss what the business case might be for those future agreements? So I just talked a little bit about BB10, but then there's always BlackBerry Android. I'll let you guys go.
Which BlackBerry Android could be another case to for Turing phone, or for Blackphone, which has failed miserably at their attempts to secure Android. I could definitely see BlackBerry licensing out their secured version of Android to Turing phone, or to Blackphone. I think that that would definitely work. And then the other niche player that wants to step into the security field, I think that I could see them licensing out their version of Android to that as well. Um, but it'll also have con- consumer value in the sense that it has Google Play services and it has all the apps and all that other stuff with it. So I could definitely see BlackBerry licensing out their version of Android to others as well. But definitely to companies like Turing Phone or Black Phone, who are very security conscious but haven't quite been able to really break into that market.
Mm-hmm. It brings up an interesting thing or question in my tiny little mind, and that is, if you were to license out your BlackBerryized Android software to someone, how would that tie in? Like, who's responsible for signing that with their hardware or whatever?
BlackBerry.
Yeah. So very interesting. I mean, at that point, it might as well be a BlackBerry phone. But I guess if you're licensing something out, the price just goes up and you can stick your name on it. In any case, to get into more of Alan's question, I was quite concerned when I picked up my Priv on launch day, because that's what I do. We would have a cycle of updates that would be not necessarily to my liking, and my God, has the absolute opposite come true, and that is the updates are fast and they're furious, Matt. They're on top of it. They're before everybody else. They are the going concern as far as updates go and security patches. They're better than everybody. Do they come out with the next OS on day one? No, that's different. Let's just go through a small amount of history. When it came out, it had Lollipop on it, and it worked, and it had a couple of interesting issues. But shortly after, things stabilized to my liking. I mean, it was a great Lollipop phone. God, I hate using those words. And and then when they finally got Marshmallow to the point where it was secure enough for them to let it out on all their handsets, that was a rock and roll update too. But the security patches are second to none. Nobody does it better. So I have zero fear of as far as longevity goes. Where BlackBerry is a software company, I believe it. And so they are a hard case, man. If you're going to get a TCL product, DTEC 50, DTEC 60, and the Mercury thing or whatever else they have upcoming, their software, as far as I'm concerned, is the reason to purchase. Because my year-old almost history shows that they are completely and utterly serious about keeping you up to date. And they're not going to give you an operating system upgrade, in other words, 5 to 6 or 6 to 7, until it's proper, until it's well-baked and secure, so that they can offer it to their enterprise and security-conscious consumers. It's the thing to buy, as far as I'm concerned. That's the reason to buy. And
there is your business case. That is precisely your business case that I was going to bring up for like that mass market. And I'm going to take it back a couple weeks when Alpha, we were talking about the blue phones.
Yes.
Now the blue phones they're from a bunch of probably Chinese manufacturers that have been rebranded blue. And this American company is importing these phones into America and selling them. And besides the quality of the phone, what was your complaint about those blue phones, Alpha?
Updates.
Exactly.
Those
Once
phones-
you get it, you never get another update again. What you get when you buy that phone is what you've got.
Yep.
That is the business case for licensing BlackBerry software, which we know that
Right.
BlackBerry has said that they will ensure that the quality of the phone is up to snuff as far as they're concerned before they will allow their name to go on it. And then I forget exactly how he put it, but at a certain part, they will inject their hardware keys into it. So BlackBerry's actually there. And like in the case of this first licensee, they're putting an office there, right, in Canada, where they're going to work side by side with these people. And this is going to be kind of what we should expect, that BlackBerry will work side by side with these companies to produce these phones. But we know that there are a multitude of manufacturers out there, manufacturers that might be building components for the big guys and putting their phones out, hoping that they'll sell, but they have zero capability of updating these phones. And that's what BlackBerry's going to do. They're going to keep their phones competitive in the market. So why would somebody like this company or any of the manufacturers of the blue phones want to license BlackBerry? Because it takes something that they can't do, something that they're not doing, and putting it in BlackBerry's hands. BlackBerry will take care of all those updates. That's a huge business case right there. Huge.
It is. It is mass. And by the way, that company that is opening up in Canada next to BlackBerry. What size of an igloo did they lease?
No idea.
Because those things, they're hard to build. Just saying.
So on topic, Dave. So on topic.
That's the fun of it, isn't it?
I was just like everybody else during that earnings call. When I heard Chin make those statements, which actually I didn't hear it right away. I read back in group because I live in the past and so does Dave, compared to the rest of the people in our BBM group. And, we had Ian live BBMing the call. So I was going back and reading it back. And I'm sure I was just like every other BlackBerry follower out there. Like my heart fell out of my chest. It's like, oh shit, it's over. But then, give it an hour, look at everything, actually listen to the call. And it's like, wait, this isn't bad. It's like, it's not what we wanted. It's definitely not what we wanted. I wanted BlackBerry to be number one, to design and manufacture their phones just like it was back in the old BBOS days. That's not going to happen. It's just not. We're not in a world where that happens anymore. And the market isn't the market it was back then. Nobody's making money doing this right now, except for a company that's fleecing its customers by providing them shit and charging them a lot of money for it. Hi, Tim. So BlackBerry has found a way around this. They're doing it, and I think it's brilliant, and I know we keep getting complaints that, oh, you guys just listen to everything Chin says, you fall for his stuff. It's like, no, we're actually looking at it. First of all, to you complainers out there on the channel that says Chin doesn't know what he's doing, go back to flipping your hamburgers. Chin's running a company, and he's done it before.
My question to you, my question to you, hosters, is what the hell do you think you would do that would turn the place around? And you got served a shit sandwich, and look at what he's done with it. He's turned it into steak.
I'll tell you exactly what they do, because they say it nonstop. They would put all their money into marketing BB10, and BlackBerry would be gone by Friday.
Yeah,
It's that simple. They would run the company into the ground with their idiocy. And they're so upset because the world didn't happen the way they wanted it to. It didn't happen the way I wanted it to either. But damn it, I want to continue buying BlackBerry, right?
Mm-hmm.
So am I going to sit there and am I going to cry and complain that the world doesn't like BlackBerry and Chin screwing up because he has not spent every last penny of BlackBerry by putting TV commercials all over the air for a product that's not going to sell? That's stupid. Sorry, guys. And if I lose some readers, so be it. It is literally stupid what they're complaining about Chin about. It is their brains are wrong. I can't put it any other way. We've watched as BlackBerry tried. We've watched as Thor tried. We've watched as Chin came in and he tried. There is no way that plan would work. A lot of these people think, well, all it would take is a media blitz in order for BB10 to sell. That's bullshit.
It is.
Because the minute BlackBerry spent, how much money does BlackBerry have right now?
I don't know. It's like two.
I think it's 2.5 billion, 2.5.
Yeah,
billion.
I was going to say 2.5.
Okay, so if BlackBerry suddenly went out and put out $2.5 billion in advertising for the Passport, which is the greatest phone ever made, by the next day, both Samsung and Apple would go out and put out $2.6 billion in advertising telling you how stupid it is and how our phone's better. And boom, we don't have BlackBerry anymore.
Yeah, guess who has the larger war chest? But
yeah,
the thing is that we have a strategic. Well, I think it was maybe not the only, but a really smart decision in how to keep handsets flowing with BlackBerry logos on them. Excuse me. It's positioned in such a way in the company where it's not just a hardware division anymore, so it gets to float along with other services too, and so it's not looked upon as this one thing that has like a leaky boat or whatever, and it's also leveraged opportunities with third parties who have already created some fairly kick-ass hardware that just needs a little bit of modification to call it a BlackBerry. Witness DTEC 50, DTEC 60, and I'll hold my, I have reservations about the Mercury or whatever because nobody's really had one in their hands. But and I just don't see it being viable, like you said, Brad, any other way. This is what keeps BlackBerry's heart pumping and blood pumping. It's the way. And go ahead and bitch about it if you want to, but you can't do any better, people. And this is the way it's going, and embrace it. You're going to have more BlackBerry handsets. Embrace it.
What BlackBerry is done, what John Chin has done is give a viable business case for BlackBerry through licensing the technology, through licensing the name, by partnering with these companies to ensure that these are BlackBerry phones that we're getting in our hands. They've given us a future for our devices. They've given us a future for our company. Not the way I think any of us would have planned it or would have done it, but it's pretty ingenious. And I think we are on the verge of a new golden era for BlackBerry. Will it be what it was back in the original days? Probably not. It'll probably never get to that point again. I think the minute Apple falls, which they will fall, I can't believe they are still here. I thought they were going to fall around the iPhone 6 time, and I was wrong. But when Apple falls, I don't see any phone reaching that level again. There's competition out there. It is a completely different world than it used to be. But BlackBerry is set up to be, they've set them a position. Honestly, what does Samsung have that LG doesn't have? What does LG have that HTC doesn't have? There's really no competitive advantage there other than their name and whoever's put out the newest phone, because the newest phone has the highest specs, and that's the phone that all of Androidia is going after. Apple has the name, and it's got the sheep that's still following it and still want the newest phone, even though that number is dwindling. Some of those flockers have moved on to other things. They're brightening up. BlackBerry has set itself a position. They are secure, and they will provide an updated software to these manufacturers that aren't able to update their software on their own. I think it's brilliant. And I'm excited for all the new BlackBerry users that we're going to be getting at UTB Blogs. When new people get BlackBerries and realize that there's only one site that's been, you know, pro BlackBerry all this time. Ooh, did I say that? Sorry. Go on.
Well, I think it's great to be able to have the mobility, which is an interchangeable word for software. You have the mobility to place your product on various pieces of hardware. Excuse me. So it definitely, by default, opens the game up to more hardware players. And I'm looking forward to the licensing capabilities to grow BlackBerry's business. You know, if you do it right, it's a much better, more mobile play than hardware. And being able to have your hardware with your name on it along with that is beautiful, and it's an end-to-end enterprise play, which is critical. So again, not trying to beat a dead horse, but you know, having those handsets available is critical for end-to-end play, and it's the way forward. It's what had to happen. So anybody sniveling about it is kind of wasting their breath. It's just what had to happen. That's what has to happen in order for us to be here talking about it. Otherwise, like you said, it would have snuffed itself 2 years ago. You know, the road was BB10 2 years ago. That was the road, and that was you know, ventured as far as it could be taken, and this is the new road. So get on the bandwagon or go away.
I agree 100%. The whiners, the complainers, you can't do better than what Chen is doing. You can't.
Mm-mm.
He took a company that was going down. He steered it in the right direction, and BlackBerry will be going places. They got great planning set. They're focused, and they're doing the thing. And people just need to sit back and let Chen and company run the company.
Yeah.
All of these backseat armchair CEOs need to step off. Seriously, they need to step off.
I hear you, man. And you know what? I don't remember what the numbers were, but a couple weeks ago, Prem Watsa like doubled down. He doubled down. And if he didn't have any faith in the guy he coerced or hired or convinced to run this company, if he didn't have any faith in what Chen has done and is doing, do you think he would have doubled down? No.
Nope.
Not in a million years. I mean, there's people who are money smart, you know, way better than us, you know, jockeys here, that are making multi-million, you know, dollar deals in favor of what's happening. So I don't know why people are freaking complaining. I don't get it.
A comment from Roy, who I wish was here right now, but unless you had been CEO of a company and you made the turnaround, you can't say things about Chen. He is CEO, not your personal device maker. He needs to show profits.
Right.
Something tells me Roy is giving a one-fingered salute right now.
Yeah. Right on, Roy. It's just, you know, give your head a shake. You're not smarter than these people. Just go with it. I don't get it.
I'd be willing to bet that had Thor stayed in place, you know, love you, Thor. Sorry, buddy. But had Thor stayed in place and continued pushing BB10 as the way to go, we wouldn't be here right now talking about BlackBerry.
Yeah.
There would be no BlackBerry.
I like Torsten. I thought he was a really cool guy. And he had actually had to do such a hatchet job. I wouldn't want to have been in his shoes except for the money. You know, so that was a rotten deal. What can you say about that? And had he still been there, we might have had, you know, batteries that blew up.
Or you know, everything would be wireless charging, because that's what he went into, right? But
that's what I'm saying. That's
no offense to that guy. No offense to Thurston Hines. He did something that none of us would ever want to do. He did the dirty work, and it was needed, and it was required. And I guarantee you, he did not enjoy it.
Oh, hell no.
But the direction they were taking would have killed the company. We would not have BlackBerry right now had John Chen not taken that position. I guarantee it.
Yeah,
exactly.
No, Chen did the right. In the end, you know, most of the slicing and dicing happened with Hines.
Right.
And some more slicing and dicing had to happen with Chen, but not as much. And but the vision, you know, how to turn the ship around. Oh my God. And we are here because of him. You're absolutely right. Without him, we'd have nothing to talk about. If we were talking, we'd be talking over BBM about patents. And that's it.
Yeah. Thor cut the costs, but he didn't have a strategy to move forward. You know, Chen continued to cut costs, but he has a strategy, and we've seen as that strategy has changed, and thank God for that. Thank God he's somebody that reacts. You know, there's been many a company that has brought somebody in that has said, this is the direction we're going to go, this will save us, and drove the company into the ground as they weren't willing to steer that ship another direction when that direction wasn't working. And Chen is doing that.
Yes, he is. He 100% is. And anybody that says that he's not is fooling themselves. They're absolutely fooling themselves. I understand people want what they want when they want it, but they need to understand that BlackBerry is a business. They got to make business decisions in order for the company to be around in the future, and that's exactly what they've been doing. And they've made the best possible decisions that they could make, and the company is going in the right direction. And like we've been saying here, had they continued on the path that they were going when Thor was around, we wouldn't be having this podcast right now.
No. It's true.
We'd be over at UTB Geek talking about movies.
Exactly.
Never even would have got that far.
Well, hey, we went really long tonight for it being, you know, just three of us.
That just shows to go you that we're all full of crap or something.
Or we're all full of commitment.
There you go.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So let's call it. We don't have Erica here to tell us to shut up tonight, so I'm going to say it. Let's shut up, and we will be back.
Yeah, shut up tonight.
Oh, Dave. I hope I can edit that out. Good night, folks.
Good night, everybody. Thanks,
See ya.
guys.
Have fun.